So we're going to talk about how I got into the paranormal ghost investigations. It started back in 2020 when the world shut down. We were just really, really bored, and we had this passion for, doing something crazy. Let's go out into the graveyard and talk to ghosts. That'll be fun. So we just got some really cool little gadgets and started doing it, and then it just grew into something more than what we'd really thought about. We had met Chris Counts. He went with, I don't even remember where we went. It was some radio station in Hot Springs, I believe. And we went there, and it was really, really interesting, the information we got back that one. And then I remember Chris and his son David were both like, I think she's hearing people talk. I don't know what she's doing, but I think she's really hearing people talk. And it was funny to hear them. I was like, oh, they probably think I'm crazy. We had Jack Womack with us, but after that, we traded Jack in and we got Sam, and that's how Sam come to be. So the four of us just kind of grew into something more than what we had planned. It becomes something like just something fun to do. Now it's kind of like a passion for everybody. And now for me, it's more of an experience where I can help others understand, because for me, there's a lot of people that I meet that are just like, I'm so worried that I'm crazy and I don't understand. And to validate them, to make them understand, because I needed the validation as well. So that's, for me, it's to help others. We got on audio the things that I was saying. Like, I kept telling them there was this woman that was screaming, and it was so extremely loud that I had to keep covering my ears. It was so loud, and I thought, I don't even want to tell them because this is so crazy. But then when they started hearing the same things I heard, and then they had audio to back up what I was saying, I was like, oh yes, maybe now they'll believe me. Now I can start saying more things, and I can start telling them more things, because I didn't just put my crazy out there all in the beginning. I just kind of trickled it in a little bit, and kind of baby steps. So I do have some footage of where we're in the Capitol. We were walking, and I don't remember exactly everything that I was hearing at the time. I just know there was some activity going around me. So I took my phone, I just took my cell phone and hit record and just started recording around me, because and then when I just kept it. Just kept the footage. I didn't even open it. I never looked at it again. They did a story on it, and then months later, I pulled up that video, and I was like, guys, look at this. And you heard the voice in the back, leave. And I was like, why didn't you give this to us? I was like, I didn't know I had it. I literally did not know I had it. So that was pretty awesome to see him sitting there holding his hat, looking dazed and confused, and then all of a sudden you hear, leave. And he's just sitting here looking around. We had the woman upstairs. There was a woman upstairs, screaming, and it seemed to me, it felt like she was in a courtyard, and she was yelling at a group of people, and she was just so mad at them, and they weren't listening to her. That was her frustration level. And I could feel her, see her, and I was right there in that moment. I left. It was kind of, I wasn't present anymore. I was there in that timeline. And then when I come back, I looked around and so dazed and confused, and there was someone standing behind me that I didn't know who that was. I knew he was with the group, but I didn't know who he was. And I was nervous because I was scared. What did I do when I wasn't here? And I just kind of looked at him and I said, did you hear anything? And he just no. And I went, okay. And I just kept going because I was like, oh gosh. So then I went and got Chris, and I was like, hey, there's something going on over here I think we need to be aware of, because this is what happened. I didn't explain it into depth like that, but I did explain the whole lady screaming in frustration vibe, and then he later told me that he got some recordings of it. But as far as the incident they were referring to about in the, I believe it's the North Little Rock Records.
It was the North Little Rock Heritage Center or Historical Archives.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that was, it's on the top two of my worst experiences. But we were in there, and I was communicating with something that was not of the living, had never been walked the earth. It was not something, it wasn't a spirit. And it was very aggressive, and it probably scared me the worst I've ever been scared in my life. And it was telling me that it was really going to come after me, and like no matter where I went, it was following me, and it was going to come to my house, and it was going to get me. And it was just really, really, really just so evil. And I had never reacted like this before, ever in my entire life. It was so overpowered. I just took off running, screaming, and crying uncontrollably, and I don't do that. So that was one of those worst experiences but I did conquer that fear, and I did walk back in there, and it was okay. But I don't want to go back.